Hello, John.
The wheels are falling
I'm
off.
hitting all the buttons. I just touched all of them.
Awesome.
Welcome to Eat Sleep Code. This is our weekly news show that we do here. Um, I'm Ed Charbonneau, and this is my co-host John Bristow. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. We've been away for a while. I was over in Canada. I live down in Australia, so for those folks who know, yeah, I went to Canada to go visit family. It was beautiful, and so we've been away for a bit. And Ed and I synced up just a few days ago. And we thought, why don't we get together again and chat about the tech news? So here we are.
So it's winter in Australia, and you traveled to Canada, which is
Yeah.
summer. So is that
Mhm.
like the Aussie version of the Northerners migrating south in the United States for
That's
a
right.
warm climate?
We don't have a lot of birds in Australia that make these long treks like we do in North America. So, for example, the Canada goose or the pelican, for example, go up and down North America. We don't have that same sort of thing here to the same degree because there's not a lot of land to land on, except that Southern Pacific Islanders, the islands that are available there. We get some of that. We get some birds going across, migrating around. But no, we don't have these huge migrations. So I guess you could call it me a snowbird in a sense for that, chasing the beautiful Canadian weather that was around. It was awesome. It was great to be back just for a little bit and see what has changed and what hasn't. So, but it's nice to be back home now in Australia, and I'm keen to talk about the latest tech news.
I find it a little backwards to hear somebody
Sure.
talking about going to Canada to get warm.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Right. So we cover the technology news on this show, AI things, .NET things, a little bit of here and there and everywhere. But we've been away for a couple weeks, so some of these articles in news headlines you might have heard or seen. That's okay. That's okay because you're here for the opinions of us two knuckleheads, anyway, right?
Right.
John's like nod and go along with it. It's all good.
Yep. No, that's fine.
So I'm going to add some personal stories to some of this stuff too, as well. So this is an article that I came across talking about deep research mode and doing your deep research for go-to-market and like how to improve your workflows with the generative AI stuff that's out there.
Yep.
And we won't dig into the article too deep, but the gist of this is talking about the different tools that are out there. There's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, there's Claude, there's Perplexity, there's Grok. And then the author outlines like certain things activities that he's doing to do like go to market, some of the sample prompts and things, and then goes into a breakdown of, let's see here. It's got some sample prompts and things, but this is what I was mainly looking for. He was looking for the best tool to do this deep research with. And there is ChatGPT, obviously, Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, Claude. Claude is like fantastic at coding. I keep hearing people saying that they default to that in like Copilot and Cursor, like that's the go-to like model for coding. But there were some negatives in this matrix here for doing deep research, which is like a completely different thing than coding, right? So my personal perspective on all of this is I was using a tool from a startup. John, you and I were talking about this just the other day. It was called Bench.io. And it was just a little startup thing. And it apparently didn't grab enough attention, didn't onboard enough users. And the owners decided it was time to move on to some other startup ideas that were more successful. And now my favorite deep research tool is defunct and I can no longer access it. So I've been looking for a replacement, hence the article. This is how I started using Perplexity because you could see that it didn't have any of the negative aspects. It had mostly green lights on the different categories here. So I'm kicking the tires on Perplexity. I'm not 100% sold yet.
Okay.
It's not as good as Bench was at doing the things that I needed to do.
Right.
And I still need to circle back on ChatGPT, even though it seems that there are some considerations here. The author has marked, pricing limits, structure, data and formats and sources. These are all things I'm going to have to look at, which Perplexity excels at, but then in the middle area, like context gathering, reasoning, judgment, comprehensiveness is kind of not, it's good, it's green, but it's not, the best. And this, I think, is pretty true so far with my experience with Perplexity, is that it does a good job gathering all the resources, digging through them, but the answers and the generated text streams that I'm getting out of it aren't exactly what I want. And I'm spending a little bit too much time editing content that's coming out. So, John, what's your take on these platforms? I know you're using some of them. I think you said you were using ChatGPT, was it?
Yeah, that's right. So I've been using ChatGPT for a long time now. I find that it does a very good job of the general sort of tasks that I have for it. I have been using the deep research integration for a while as well. So for those who don't know, when you click on deep research, what we'll do is go off and probably take about 10 to 15 minutes to evaluate your request. The way that I tend to use it with ChatGPT is I seed the prompt ahead of time by saying, listen, I want to go through a series of Q&A with you, because I'm not going to get everything right the first time in terms of telling you what I'm looking for. And then I will tell the prompt, ask me any questions, any clarifying questions. Now, if you do enable deep research, it will do this regardless and then go off and do its work. The answer that comes back is quite extensive, but it does take time. That's the only downside. I found that ChatGPT does an excellent job of this. And from a day-to-day perspective, if you're a developer looking at utilizing this, I would suggest you use this for the basis of constructing things like blog posts or perhaps plans or things that require a little bit of free formatted text. So if you're looking to do a plan for your development team, or let's say you're proposing a new change, you can plug in all of that information, ask tools like Claude or whatever to go off and do a deep research task, and then we'll come back with a pretty detailed response. I am surprised that Torsten marked the sources for ChatGPT as red. I actually felt like it was actually quite good in terms of citing resources with ChatGPT, but your mileage may vary. So the long and short of it is, deep research is sort of like, I'm willing to give you some time to take some time to fill in the response you're about to give, do some Q&A back and forth with the prompt, and then come back with an answer. So I find it actually quite useful for this.
Yeah, so we got a comment in chat. Ocular Malice says you should always be editing content coming out of your AI.
That is true.
Yes and no. It depends. Is that content going to be released as is? Like, I use a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, and the generated part isn't what I actually publish as content. So it's just giving a guide to do some other task,
Right.
and it's not in the final results, then you don't need to. But if it's going to be a blog post, it's going to be something that is published to, the results are going to be published, then you should probably be going back and editing it. However, there are some tricks to getting better outputs, so there is a less of a need to edit as much. And John, I talked to you about this this prompt that I use. I have a lot of personally published content, authored content on the web. If you don't have it on the web, that's fine. You can use local resources to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But what I did with Bench, and I haven't tried this with the others yet, because I already have the script done, is you can go into these tools, the ones that can fetch URLs and pull in data from URLs. Like I said, if you don't have stuff published on the web, you can use local resources for the platforms that let you upload files. So let's say upload 10 files or give it 10 URLs and say, this is my writing style. Go read these resources and identify my tone of voice and my writing style, and then give me an analysis of what that is. And then the AI will go off and deep research, come back with a big chunk of information that talks about what your style of writing is, things that you do well. It will even critique you on things you're not doing well. That's fine. You can keep that in there. And then take that big summary. It could be a page, maybe 2 pages of information. Ask it to distill it down into an AI prompt that will that you can reuse to instruct AIs to write in your tone of voice with your writing style. So it's going to take that 2 pages of information. It's going to crunch it down into like bullet points and steps and like a plan to write like you. And it'll have like contextual clues in there, little phrases that you use, fairly often. The tone of voice that you have, whether it's authoritative or passive, that type of thing. It's all going to be in there. And then from there on out, you can just reference that prompt and you could say, all right, I'm writing a blog post. Use my tone of voice prompt to help generate this content. I'm writing a video script. I want all of the host content to come in my tone of voice, so I don't have to go in and edit it a bunch of times to make it sound like me. And that prompt is powerful. I love it. I use it all the time.
Awesome.
So great read here. I like this comparison with all of the different AI platforms. I need to go in and try some more out, but right now I'm hanging around Perplexity and giving it a chance, but I'm finding some things that aren't working well for me. So I'm going to try some other stuff too.
Right.
All right. Everybody's got a platform, an AI, a model these days. And Gemini 2.5 Pro is now GA.
Yes.
So
this was
tell us a little bit about Gemini. This is Google's model, is that right?
This is integrated as part of Copilot. So Gemini is from Google, and 2.5 Pro is now available through GitHub Copilot, which is awesome. That's basically the news. And so if you're looking to use Gemini so Gemini is well known for basically like strong reasoning and code performance. You cited Claude earlier, which is very good for coding. But basically now it's accessible for users across tools, including VS Code, anywhere that is Copilot. So Visual Studio, JetBrains, Xcode, Eclipse, I believe, if anyone's still using that, the web, mobile, etc. And so if you're one of the customers that are utilizing Gemini Pro, Pro Plus, etc., you can use this directly within GitHub Copilot Chat. And so you have to, I believe you have to enable this explicitly if you're a business and enterprise admin, through your policy settings, but generally it's now available, and so the integration is there for you to use, which is great.
Yeah, so some of these models cost different rates, so your admin has to go in and enable them to show up, because they'll come up in the IDE with a little bit of a parentheses or some kind of note around them that tells you that it's just a little simple call out. And I think in Visual Studio, it's just like in parentheses, the number 4. And that would mean like, this is 4 times the cost of the base LLM, which is usually like GPT 4.1 or 5. So keep an eye out for that. But once it's enabled, you can grab it off the drop downs in Agent, Ask, or Edit mode and use it there. I think Gemini, by the way, being a Google LLM, is supposed to be good at Go, which makes sense because it's a Google technology. So that might be a thing to look at.
Yep. So if you're doing Go development with Google, with Gemini, not with Google, with Gemini, it does have it. It's benchmarked as pretty strong. So for code gen, things like that, tasks, it does a really good job. It also does a really good job with like Python and Java, JavaScript, etc. So, they GitHub often is cited or highlighted that if you're using Copilot today with Go project, you should see a lot of improvements with this going forward.
And Ocular Malice, thanks for giving me a segue to talk about Visual Studio Code in agent mode in GitHub Copilot. Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code have a very similar DNA when it comes to Copilot. And there has been several updates since our last show as to how these things are implemented. And one of the things Visual Studio 2022 got is semantic search. So the code context for semantic search is much better at digging through your code. It can also go out and fetch. It has a fetch tool now that you can plug in just raw URLs into your prompts. That works in Visual Studio Code as well. I think it's been in VS Code just a little bit longer. I think you can assume that for almost all of these features, by the way, that VS Code has had it maybe a week or two earlier, if not longer. They seem to lead rather than lag in this situation. So this big update in August, a lot more Git control, Git history, custom models, GPT-5 was added. So there's been a lot of improvements in that. They added the MCP support. It was there before. You had to kind of manually go in and edit a mcp.config file or mcp.json file. And it was a bit messy. You still may need to go in there and know what it is and where to find it. But they've added, if I can get, that's the best screenshot we have. Let's see, I can zoom. Thank God I can zoom. There is a little green plus sign now up at the top. Not the most intuitive thing, but if you do see that plus sign up there, click on it and you'll get like a little wizard type of a screen that helps you add your MCP tool to the stack. And then you can check it on the box and you can put custom MCP tools in there. I have some to talk about, by the way. So we'll get into that as well. So there's just been a lot of quality of life improvements to GitHub Copilot. So keep an eye on Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. So another good read here. And also dealing with Copilot agents is how do I get my agent to respond in structured format like JSON? And this one is talking about like actual agents in the what's it called? The Azure AI Foundry. They keep changing the name on me. I keep trying to reinforce my memory on this one. They have an agent builder in the AI Foundry, which used to be Azure Foundry Portal or Azure AI Portal or something like that. Now it's AI Foundry. But I just wanted to bring this article up, whether you're working with agents or you're working with just large language models in general, the structured outputs are amazing. This is like the way developers really need to work with these large language models, because what structured outputs do is they give you data back as JSON. And because it's JSON, that means you can serialize it back into other objects, or at least find the data that you need programmatically. So you're not getting just a big, wild, unstructured text stream back every time you ask a question. So if you're not using structured outputs, make sure you do a little research on how those are done. There's a little quick overview of it in here, how to define a JSON format. Basically, you can give it a schema. You can give it a very structured like definition schema and get back a really valid answer from that. You can give it a loose schema, just like a rough outline of what the object looks like. Give it pretty much an example of what you want back, and it will follow through with that example. The benefits of giving a true JSON schema versus just a shape with an example object is if you give it a true schema, it usually won't go outside of that schema and add its own properties and things to it. If you just give it like a boilerplate of like, here's a person with a first name and last name, and then it gets something that looks like a middle name or an address, it'll just assume it can add that as well. So if you don't want it to stray off of the mark, give it a true schema. And there are now
bad AI, bad.
depending
No
on the
AI.
model,
No.
exactly, you're gonna slap the hand a little bit on these things.
Yeah.
Depending on the model, some of them have a schema parameter. If you use that, it will really stick to that schema. However, it is very stringent on the input that you give it. It has to be a valid schema. So if you are just kind of winging it and you have a schema that doesn't have a property that's really properly defined that follows the JSON schema, I guess you could say, then it will not like accept it and it'll just throw like a 400 error or whatever it is. And I've run into that and it's a real pain. So if you have like dynamic objects and like C# and things like that,
Mhm.
sometimes you'll try to throw a schema at it and it's like, okay, but this one property is of a type that I don't know and I can't,
Mhm.
reinforce the schema there. So it just throws off an error that's like bad schema format or something. So that's something to keep your eyes on.
I'm sure the AI turns around and is like, bad human, bad.
There are tools in the Azure portal for all of this stuff. It looks like this is actually using VS Code, so there might be some tooling that you could pull in there as well to
There
do
is.
prompt testing and evaluation. And there's a structured output tab in there to put your JSON schemas in and you get the structured data out. Some people like structured data in as well. I don't know. Have you seen that, John?
No, but I know that when you're using the agent builder inside of VS Code, this is, all part to give you the guide rails so that you don't screw up in this way.
Yeah, some people were batting around the idea of using structured inputs. So you're taking your entire prompt and wrapping it in JSON, and you're giving it, the parameters and things that you might normally put in, say, Markdown or XML comments or whatever it is to give
Right.
extra context to the prompt. So
Mhm.
give it a try, see what you think. Some people swear by it. Some people are like, I'd rather just use XML. It's easier for me to read, but it does work.
Very good.
Let's see. I am looking for. I don't think I have a segue to it here. I was going to share. Here, we'll pull up something else that you brought up, John, and then I'll go find the URL I'm missing. Some thoughts on large language models and software development by Martin Fowler.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, Martin Fowler is part of ThoughtWorks, a long time sort of, a long time stalwart on the ThoughtWorks team there, and he had this article entitled "Some Thoughts on LLMs and Software Development." So the gist of it is that Martin is advocating like experiment. So have a go. He's not advocating one way or the other, but he's basically saying, look, it's basically like an advanced autocomplete. So it's going to give you some suggestions that you may accept, but he also in his blog post talked about how others feel about it. He did in his blog post decline that to forecast the future of programming. He can't claim whether or not LLMs and AI will be the future. And so junior and senior engineers, rest easy. Don't worry, your jobs are still secure. We're not trying to forecast the fate of a mass, unemployment for those folks. But he does recommend that you actively experiment and share how you use LLMs with others as part of your team, as part of your daily workflows. He did label, obviously, AI as a boom. That's a certain, as a bubble, excuse me. That is an absolute certainty. So, and this is what happens in all tech revolutions. So the timing and scale remains uncertain, but as with any, the way I look at tech innovations or revolutions, they're like a massive flood, right? And it's like, every company has to build an ark, and they have to have 2 developers from every company to survive the impending flood, right? So,
developer.
Yes, exactly.
I like the analogy.
Yes. So like Noah's Ark, you have to survive the impending flood by getting on board and riding, I guess, the wave, so to speak. Some firms will fail, others may endure and even benefit. So it's akin to, for example, Amazon surviving the .NET the .com crash. So in summary, basically the promise of AI in this blog post, as Martin talks about, lies in the deeper integration with your coding practices and workflows. And he talks a great deal about whether or not he can't for certain whether the future is this or that, but basically experiment. That is the general summary.
I think you're right about the bubble thing. I think all of these disruptive technologies, whether they're digital or industrial revolution, whatever it is, they all have some bubble in one shape or another that ends up popping. And they also have that creative destruction type of
absolutely. It's like a forest fire
path that they follow. And it's something that's been repeated many times throughout history. And like, we'll see things fail, and there may be a pop in some of the bubbles here and there. But for the next few years, I think we're going to see a lot of the large language model, AI integrated workflows and things like that. And that brings me back to the thing I was looking for, which is the AI coding assistants that we just released for our products here at Progress. So we talked about Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, and how we have the Ask and Agent mode, and that silly little green plus sign I was trying to find on a tiny itty bitty screenshot. When you click on that little plus sign, you can add in our AI coding assistants. So what this is the products that we sell at Progress are, there's a lot of them, but the ones that I'm talking about specifically here are UI component libraries. So what you want to do in your agent workflow is say, add this UI component to this view that I'm working on, and Copilot will do its best, right? It'll go off and it'll find things in its knowledge base. It'll find, it might search the web because it has that search capability now, and it'll try its best to implement that component in your application. Now, when I say try its best, it may hallucinate things. It may invent properties that don't exist on objects. It may wire things up incorrectly, but it'll try to do its best. It'll get you 80% of the way there.
Bad AI, bad. Sorry.
So what we're doing is we have created MCP tools that the large language model can call and give further context to how our product works. So if you say add a group teller grid to this page, then it will first go out to the tool and say, the user is looking to configure a teller grid. These are some of the parameters, and then we'll give back a kind of like a data dump that has the knowledge that it needs to format the component correctly. We don't necessarily supply code to the Copilot, but we give it the additional context that it needs so it doesn't hallucinate properties and things like that. So instead of getting you 80% of the way there, you'll get 99 to 100% of the way there. So it cuts down on hallucinations quite a bit. It's still not, it's AI, so it's not 100% perfect, but it gets you a much better answer than what you would get with just Copilot. So we released those. And if you are a customer at whatever certain tiers, you get so many tokens, that type of thing. You have to read into the details on that. But the amount of products that we have and the number of assistants that we are releasing is just mind-boggling, and our teams are amazing for actually getting this done. I'm going to make sure, see, I'm sharing a tab. I'm going to switch screens for just a second, John. And let's share my desktop because I want to show a little bit of actual.
Here we go.
A little bit of actual code here, if I can get.
Can I do running commentary?
Absolutely.
I've been using computers long, Ed?
Not too long, a couple weeks. So I want to cover a couple things that we chatted about. Like we talked about the agent mode. We talked about these MCP tools and all of that. I wanted to share a new feature in Visual Studio Code that I think is really cool and kind of tie all of those things together to give you like a big picture of how that looks. So if I just do Copilot here, You have in Copilot a little drop down, and in the drop down, you'll see it has the built-in category. It has agent, ask, and edit. Ask is like the old school version of Copilot, where you're more just like asking it how you might do something, or where you can like say, describe this code and tell me how it works, that type of thing.
This is read-only mode for me.
Yeah, you can hit apply and manually apply it, but it is very read more than it is write. Agent mode is more like cursor started, where cursor is building code and it's iterating on code, and if it finds errors, it'll try to fix them. And this is like your productivity mode, and this is what you're going to spend probably 90% of your time in. And this is really handy stuff where you can pick your models. You can grab Claude Sonnet. You can see the little 1x's by all of those, by the way. That's that pricing thing I was showing you or telling you about. And then like O4 mini previews, like a third of the price. You get some extra mileage out of that one. If maybe you're not doing as much crazy stuff, you're just trying to figure out some for loops or something. But I've got Claude Sonnet in there. And then if you click on the little configure tools, you're going to see all of the MCP tooling that you can call. And MCP tools are, external agents that you can call that can do all sorts of things. There's one here called Fetch that'll search the web for content and bring it into the model's context. So if there's, something you're trying to do and maybe it needs documentation, it's not in its training to understand what this thing is, you can just throw a URL to the docs in there. And this fetch tool will kick in. It'll go read the docs and then bring that into the model's context. So it has the documentation. Our tools are down here on this list. You'll see I've got the Telerik Blazor Assistant. I've got my Telerik Document Processing Assistant. So there's different products in there. And you can go through this list, right? You can check everything on and off that you want the model to have access to. But this is the new feature that's cool, John. I don't know if you've tried this yet. This is really neat. You can come in.
We have a question in the comments here from Wally who asks, yes, why now in my Visual Studio Code, I don't see that drop down of agent mode, even that I have update VS Code already. Do you want to show that question up on the screen there, Ed?
Sure. I don't know the answer to that, but that's interesting question.
Yeah, it's basically because it's still rolling out and gated by prerequisites. So the prerequisites include what version of Visual Studio Code you're running. So you have to have the latest stable, so 1.99 or higher, or even insiders if you're running the insiders build. So anything older won't expose that option. You have to have, obviously, the Copilot chat extension installed, which you likely do. There's a feature flag for agent mode, which is enabled. And you may find this in your VS Code settings. So search for, there's a key, I think it's called.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like chat.agent or something like that. And you have to enable that flag, that feature toggle. There's also the account level that you're at. So it's like this Venn diagram of things. So it's only Pro, Business, and Enterprise Copilot plans can unlock agent mode. So if you're on the free or individual plans, you won't have it. And then because this is a gradual rollout, as I said earlier, it's enabling it by region. I don't know where you live. So if you're in some part of the world where they don't have that rolled out, then that's why you don't see it.
Yeah, I think there is it does have to be enabled on your GitHub account, possibly. So a lot of these things have, there's an admin panel on GitHub that you have to enable to get, like the models, for example. We're talking about the different ones that can be in here. Some of these are governed by your admin, so they can turn these on and off. You may or may not have access to them. But agent mode, it could be in that. You might, like John said, there is a preview flag, which I thought this was out of preview.
It's in your VS Code settings. So if you bring up your VS Code settings, it's listed there. It should be I think it's like chat.agent. something or other.
There's a GUI version of this.
Sorry, what's that? Oh yeah,
there is a GUI version of this. I don't know what it's where it's at. Is it down here? Yeah, this is it. Default. Oh, that's the profile switcher.
You may
settings.
If it's not there or
Here we go.
present, it may be on by default due to your enterprise or business account settings. But anyways, it's not super important. You'll find it there.
Yeah,
So,
it should
I
be
didn't mean to
under.
distract you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it should be under features. There's a GitHub Copilot
Search for agent.
tab under
Search for
here.
agent or Copilot at the top. There you go. So it's enabled. You've got
Copilot. Yeah,
Chat
there it is.
agent. autofix, run tasks. Yeah, you may not have it specified.
It may be
I
in
didn't
there.
see it there. I didn't see it there. So are you running business or enterprise there, Ed, or pro?
We have the Pro, or it's maybe business.
Okay.
I don't remember what our GitHub is.
That
but,
would be controlled by your admin then, I would
yeah.
think. So, okay.
Yep. So if you have these drop downs,
Sorry,
there's a new
total
one.
tangent.
No, that's a good question. I've never seen it not there, so that's why it confused me. There are the built-in ones. Now there's a custom one, and this is really awesome, John. If you hit configure models, you can create your own mode, and you can also download these, by the way.
Yep.
And I've got one for Blazor development, and it's just a text file. This is markdown with
Yep.
What do they call this? Front matter? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Front
there's
matter?
it's a metadata delimiter, so it's just a metadata for the
Mhm.
file itself.
I think they call it front matter, though.
Yeah, something like that.
The technical term for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
can
you
use
give it
for
a
blogs.
description.
Astro uses this. Sorry, we're talking over each other. Sorry. Astro uses this, etc., etc. Sorry.
Yeah. So a lot of the blogging things do.
Yep.
You drop a description in there. This is just for the user. They're going to see this in the tool section down here. And then tools is all of the stuff that is in this little tool thing here that's checked on and off. And you can go through the checkboxes and it'll drop them in this array for you. You don't have to build it by hand.
Yep.
So what I've done here, there's actually, I just clicked that by accident. It's hard to see. There's a configure tools link that you can tap on, and you can come in here and add and remove some of these tools. So what I've done is I don't need that one. I don't need .NET MAUI or WinForms because it's going to be for Blazor development. But I might need document processing because I might do some like Office document editing and stuff like that in my Blazor app. I might want Telerik reporting because they have a Blazor report viewer. So I might end up in some of those workflows. So I'll keep those tools. And then when I save this, my model doesn't have to reason about all the tools that it's not going to use, and it's going to make it more efficient. And then I can also add additional instructions in here. And I've given it some URLs to the documentation, release notes, things like that. So I can make sure that I'm always going to check for the latest version of Telerik dependencies when I'm doing like new projects and things. And here's the URL where you can find the release history. And when I do file new project, I want to use the Telerik wizard instead of the .NET built-in wizards. Yep. So this is the instructions on how to run that wizard. And it's really cool because I did this earlier today. And I said, I want to create a new Blazor app. And instead of it just go like Copilot will just go off and run the default .NET new Blazor command line. Instead, it saw these instructions and it came out with kind of like a prompt, and it said, this is the normal workflow. However, I see that you're using the Telerik products and there is a wizard for it. And then it went out and checked to see if the wizard was installed. It was not. So it gives you a button. It's like, do you want to install it? Hit the button and installed the wizard. And then it came back and it said, here's your two options. You can run the wizard, or you can, and it had numbers on it. It said, number one, run the wizard, or number two, run the default Visual Studio, the .NET new template, and then we'll manually add the Telerik dependencies to it. And then I just typed the letter 1 and hit enter, and it went off and ran or gave me the instructions to run the wizard because it doesn't have the capability to invoke it. So it got me where I needed to be. And that's the power of this little custom agent mode here, is it can, you can tailor this mode in the drop down and just select it and then go into that workflow and not have to worry about, things interrupting you. That is really cool. I like that a lot.
You heard it here first. Ed likes it.
You
Yeah,
heard it here
thumbs
first
up,
that I
right?
like it, but they've been talking about this on the VS Code channel for a bit.
Yep.
It's a really cool new feature. It just shipped though. It's not been around long. I think Mark Holland, he's part of the DevRel team on the
What does Burke know?
Visual Studio
Nothing.
Code,
Kidding.
and he's got a fun one called Beast Mode. And what it does is it turns off a lot of the human in the loop elements
Yep.
of Copilot. So all of the prompts that are like, is it okay if I delete files? Is it okay if I run the command line? Is it okay if I do X, Y, and Z? It will bypass all of that. So you're just YOLOing your vibe code. How about that?
Yeah, I
John?
like
You
it.
like that?
YOLO vibe. Nice.
Yep. So look for that one out there, Beast Mode, and it's just a text file. And I think they're setting it up in the Visual Studio Code. What is that thing called? The marketplace, where you just grab them and through the GUI and install them.
Yep.
All right. Enough editor talk, John. Let's do a little business talk. Coinbase CEO explains why he fired engineers who don't try AI immediately. That seems a little harsh.
I think there's a bit of clickbaity stuff going on here. So Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO for Coinbase. Coinbase is a crypto exchange. He was on a podcast called The Cheeky Pint, where he talked about basically how he formed a meeting saying, like, look, you've got to start using AI, and if you're not, please join this meeting and let us know why. Now, in the meeting, there were some people some engineers who didn't use it to date because they were away on leave, etc. But for those folks who didn't use it, and this was on a weekend, by the way, those people were let go. And so the whole reason for me bringing up this article is because, whether you like AI or not, I mean, the reality is that a lot of business leaders are actively looking at it themselves as a way to gain efficiencies. And so if you're a developer and you're up until this point, you've been like, no, not for me, I will not use it, etc.
Yeah.
Chances are your boss or your manager is going to tell you, like, no, we're using it, so get going, sort of thing. So, some people look at this as a bit heavy-handed. Obviously, he admitted, Armstrong admitted later on that it is there, but it does underscore this point that the industry as a whole is moving more towards this future of where AI is not optional. And the reason why this matters for you as a developer is because in terms of the tech workplace, what are the norms? AI adoption is no longer advisory, but mandatory. And so it's going to be enforced as part of your job. And engineers, some engineers will see this as a call to integrate AI tools proactively, and they'll go ahead and use it, but others may not. And, for those people who reject, technologies for other reasons other than, efficiencies, may find themselves on shaky ground. So teams need to adapt policies around this. They need to start thinking about AI. I think about this constantly. They need to think about onboarding support. They need to think about oversight. This is the world that we're moving into.
Yeah. I think a lot of this we should probably preface with generative AI, not just AI, because I've been saying for like probably 10 years now, if you're not using AI or your product does not implement AI, then you are already behind. And generative AI is the thing that has stirred the pot and made everybody take a second look at what's been happening with AI over the last decade and really start utilizing some of the features that have popularized it in the last 2 years, and that is the ability to like summarize, generate, and reason through text with natural language. And that's kind of the differentiator, is that natural language processing is the newer part of all of this, and it's made it more accessible to people. So before it wasn't something you could do without maybe a data scientist and somebody doing machine learning and that type of thing. And now it's enabled people that can just write things in plain human text to be able to do a lot of amazing stuff. So there's a lot of managers and CEOs and VPs that want their people trying to utilize this and get ahead of the curve so they don't fall behind quickly.
Let me put it this way. For a while, I've been using AI, actually well over 2 years. And when I started using it, I saw the benefits of it. And I was asked, like, are you using AI for this stuff? And I was like, yes. And I think the better question is, why aren't you? Like, this is just yet another tool. Now, I'm not just copy, paste, done, feed up, there we go. It's more like, no, if I have a means of getting better at my job and I can move the mundane stuff over to that task, I'm going to do it.
And AI is being blamed for this shift. The GitHub CEO has stepped down, and this was part of not only AI, but probably a little bit more the fact that Microsoft bought GitHub not that long ago. And people probably expected this to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, the big change here is obviously that they're not going to be looking for a direct replacement. That is Microsoft. And so what this means is that GitHub's leadership will now report directly to Microsoft's core AI division. And this basically is a structural change that ends GitHub's autonomy, that self-independent status they've had with things like Copilot, et cetera. And so this matters, obviously, for a lot of folks who care about what GitHub's doing around this space. And they've been able to operate this way for a long time since they've been acquired. I think it was back in 2018 that they were acquired. And so folding it into the core AI team signals that Microsoft and GitHub are going to have deeper integration of AI into developer workflows, and this gives obviously Microsoft more control over the platform's direction. So keep an eye on this. This is something to just keep aware of. Relative to Copilot and platform policies, possibly pricing. We'll see. Not predicting anything. Just saying, it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, the whole core AI thing you mentioned, by the way, if you're a viewer, you don't know what Microsoft Core AI is, I'm not going to go get into details on it here on the show, but if you're interested in what that means and you're like a Microsofty person, use Microsoft tools and are curious, go into Copilot, like the general generative AI text Copilot, not the GitHub Copilot, but the search, Bing based tool, and just ask it, what is core AI? It knows all about it. It will tell you all about it. But for the TLDR version, it is a organizational piece of Microsoft, and it has some mission statements and objectives that it's working on. But Copilot is very aware of it for some reason, and will tell you all about it.
Yes. So it's part. So the things that it owns are things like Copilot, Azure AI services, now GitHub, and so it's an internal division, and they're focused on basically consolidating all those initiatives.
Yeah, I stepped into a rabbit hole on that one. I was like, I heard the term one day, and I was like, because I didn't recognize it as like a product name or an API or like a NuGet package. And I was like, what is this core AI thing that I just heard about? And I typed in a quick question on Copilot, and I was like, what is core AI? And it just kept going and going. I was like, whoa, okay. This is like probably TMI. Like, this is all the sausage and how it's made.
There's a little bit of that. I mean, Sasha posted a blog post back in January, where it was entitled "Introducing Core AI Platform and Tools," and basically laid out the vision of this. It's up on the Microsoft blog. You can check it out there.
It's definitely public knowledge. You're not getting anything out of Copilot chat GitHub. That's
wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the last time.
Insider information or anything. But it was just like, it was a little bit of like TMI type of stuff. Yeah. It's definitely in its training. Like, it's got resources behind all of it. I'm going to circle back to our blog post about our release. We had a really big release here at Progress last week. We not only dropped our coding assistants, but we dropped a lot of components for our UI libraries that are out for Blazor, React, Angular, and even jQuery gets a lot of updates. There's still a lot of people using jQuery. And you're going to find in all of those platforms a ton of AI enabled UI components. Some of this stuff is really cool. I had a chance to work on some of it with our team, and they've done a phenomenal job implementing like a lot of these really neat forward thinking features that are in the component library itself. So our data grid, for example, now has the ability to use natural language to work with the interface.
Mhm.
So normally you look at something like this, and if you're a new user, maybe you're a normie, right? You're not a developer, you're not technically savvy. You go on your banking website or whatever it is that's got this data grid, and there's all these little drop downs that have filtering operations, and those have drop downs that have, is null and not equal to, and all this verbiage you may not quite understand. And you've never seen this type of an interface before. There's a lot of bells and whistles and knobs and things to turn. Well, now you can just come up here and click, and there's an AI assistant that will just do the thing that you want to see. Is like, all right, I wanted to group this by account type, and hit apply, and now it's grouped by the account type. And you can come up and you can type in whatever you'd like here. These are just some suggestions that it has. Display withdrawals, the amounts are less than 5,000. Go ahead and filter that, hit apply, and then it's going to filter the data in the grid. So you can see it's added a filter here, less than 5,000. And I didn't have to come in here and click on anything. I just told it what I needed it to do. And we'll keep updating this. It'll get things like voice control and all of that. So this is really great for accessibility as well, because imagine somebody that uses alternative keyboard to a keyboard and mouse. Instead of trying to come through here and click on all of these drop downs and other type of inputs, they can just use their voice assistant to open up this tab and tell it what they want it to do, and it does it. So
Nice.
I think that is really cool stuff. You're going to find stuff like that in here being sprinkled into other components. And we have things like chat interfaces. If you're building your own, little Copilot-y experience for your application, you can build that now with the chat UI. That's
All right,
already there.
I got a question here, Ed. So you're on the chat Blazor chat thing. You also have an integrated chat down in the right-hand side. Does that use your component?
Integrated chat on the right hand. This?
Yeah,
That's not a chat. That's a. Was it
sure?
helpful?
Sometimes-
Yes or no?
Sometimes
There is
sometimes when
one. There is one. If we go all the way out, there's one that'll show up at the bottom of this page. It's not. It must be that we might be A/Bing it, so it might not be here. Let me try the
All right.
DevCraft page.
Sometimes when
there's
you
one.
answer a question, that
Yeah,
might be
I think
okay.
this one is Sitefinity built
Ah.
chat client.
Okay.
So I think this is the Sitefinity one, because we run off of our own content management platform.
Gotcha.
That may be a Sitefinity. So yeah, there's a lot of cool AI stuff in there. And if you want to hear more about what John and I talked about today with like the AI coding assistants and all of that, we have a webinar on September 3rd, and it will have a panel of some really intelligent folks. So Brian Love, Christian LaBelle, Lino Portos, Mike Ryan, Spencer Schneidenbach, myself, Catherine, and Alyssa will join as hosts. But these are all people that are using AI for different parts of their business, and they're all very technically acute folks. Some of them I know personally, and they're big fans of AI and using it for all sorts of things right now. So we will have them on panel to talk about some of the wins that they've had, some of the dev tools that they're using, and that sort of thing. So
Nice.
join us for that. If you go to Telerik.com, hit the yellow banner up at the top, hit register, you'll get a link to that. It's free. That is all there is to it. We're not charging anything for that event. All right, John. I think this is the last link. Oh, wait, there was one more. Little segue here from UI components and stuff. This was a really great blog post. I follow a lot of these UI type of things right now with AI and UI design because of the obvious, like what we're doing at Progress, like trying to scoop up any inspiration I can find. Thought this was a really great article on Smashing Magazine. It talks all about the role of AI in applications. There's different styles of chats that you can use. And, you know, as developers, we see these things in the wild right now with the Copilot interface I showed earlier and that sort of thing. There are like timeline-based patterns. There's some experiments that we have going on with this for UI components. And the idea is like you have a chat, but it's an ongoing chat that takes place over a long period of time. How do you present that to the user so it's not like this gigantic stream of text that you can't parse through? So you've got like collapsible panels that are time-stamped and that sort of thing. There's also sorts of cool stuff in here about going beyond the text prompt and having visual elements. So this one's got like a UI where you're dropping in shapes that help you describe like different things that you want to see in the scenery. There's a lot of really cool like AI based user experiences that are being prototyped and built right now. And we're in a space where it is breaking new ground, but there's also like some rediscovery of a lot of UIs that we already have, but we're implementing them for new things that we've never done before. So I'm writing an article on this right now about loading states. Like we've kind of thought we've mastered loading states by now. You know, there's the skeleton, the spinner, and all that type of thing. All that is becoming more relevant again because these AI services are indeterminate, and some of them can take seconds, some of them can take minutes. You've used the deep research we talked about earlier, like that one takes minutes upon minutes. Like, so there's different patterns and different loading techniques that you want to use to inform the user. Like maybe you need to come back in 10 minutes and look, we'll give you a push notification, or just throw up a spinner because it's only going to be less than 5 seconds, like that type of thing. So it's a great read. It has a lot of in the wild examples of things people are doing. And if you're building out user interfaces, it's probably going to be handy for you. And then finally, John, we got to talk about AR, VR, and all that stuff at least once a show, right?
Sure.
Remember those smart glasses I showed you a while back?
Yeah, let me guess. These didn't really pan out.
No, they did.
What?
Guess what? They're coming. The ones that I showed you a couple of months ago, it was like they were like $10,000 a unit or some ridiculous price like that.
Yeah, and how many did they sell?
They didn't. That's the thing. It was a prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we're gonna blame the prototype, not the bad idea.
That's not the thing.
It's the execution that didn't work, right? Not the horrible idea. Okay, keep going.
No, prototypes are prototypes for a reason. Welcome. So there was this prototype that Meta showed. They were very clear that it was a prototype. It wasn't like Apple trying to charge $10,000 for a prototype and pretend it's a user device. They had these, they called it Orion. It said it was like 10 Gs per unit to make because they were trying to figure stuff out. So apparently it's coming.
Okay.
And they figured out the hard parts. And I think if we went back and watched the tape, John, you were like, nah, this is never going to happen. They can't make this small enough and cheap enough. They are saying $800.
That's still expensive for glasses, for sunglasses.
No, these aren't going to be sunglasses. These are going to be augmented reality glasses that have a display in them. The current Meta glasses, the ones that are shown above, these are the Oakleys that have just a camera and some AI processing.
Ed, you seem really keen on this. Why don't you get them? All right.
Oh, if Progress will pony up the dough, I will totally get them.
No. If you, with your money,
$800,
you buy them. Yeah, you buy them. Put your money where your mouth is. There.
I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy and be like, $800 is nothing. But if you put it in relationship of other things that are in the same ballpark, a brand new PlayStation 5 is going to be $800, right?
Fine.
Right. Okay. So for the price of a gaming console,
still waiting for your point here, Ed.
If the
look at this guy.
The next gen AR glasses are in that price range. This is not the device, by the way. This is a Vision Pro. Yeah. It even says right here, Vision Pro suffering from lack of immersive video.
Oh, it's suffering. It's suffering from a lot more than that. Believe me,
it is. So for
horrible, these are bad ideas that are outpriced. That are just way too much. It's got to be $100. It's got to be $100.
They're saying end of September. Like this might come soon.
No one's gonna, $800.
It's referencing.
Who's gonna spend $800 on glasses?
They are more than glasses, John. This is a full heads-up display.
They're glasses. Let's not forget they're glasses.
This might be the next version of the Quest, and it's going to be $800, and you will have essentially the HoloLens for $800. You remember the HoloLens was $3,500. It was like Apple Vision Pro range. Meta has shrunk it to be glasses heavy and thick.
I'm still not. I still don't care.
These are not much thicker than the glasses you have on now, and they have a display and a camera in them and AI.
Still don't care. I have a phone.
And and for a price. So I don't know the prescription specifics on this, but if you can get them in prescription, a pair of prescription glasses alone is nearly $800. At least in the States. I don't know what you're paying for them elsewhere.
Eyewear glasses. They are not $800. What eyewear glass place are you going to?
Unfortunately, you don't. Fortunate for you, you don't live in the United States anymore. And prescription glasses.
Not $800 for glasses, dude.
My wife's last pair of glasses was nearly $500.
Oh, okay, those are probably designer. You can get
no, they're not designer.
Hang on. You've been doing a lot of talking. Now let me talk. You can get a pair of glasses for about $100 with insurance.
Are you saying she's lying to me?
I'm still talking and you're talking. So no one's going to buy these. They're too expensive. And if they price them down and they shrink the form factor, they're not going to be powerful enough to do what you expect them to do. We need a revolution in battery technology. I've said this before. I'll say it again. We need batteries to get better before any of this stuff becomes viable. These things are going to run hot, or they're going to run underpowered, or they're going to be good for 2 hours, and that's it. And then you got to charge them again. If you can charge these things, so once we get the battery problem solved, we need a revolution in battery technology. Once we get that done, then yes, we're there. However, still too expensive, still probably underpowered. These things are, I'm not going to spend $800 for glasses. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that. I don't care how cool they are. I don't care. I hate my glasses, and they help me see. I hate them. I don't.
The latest.
You're telling me.
The latest Meta Oakleys, which these just have a camera. They don't have a display. They only have a camera, audio, and they have a processor that can call AI services for you. These run. What's this price on this one? They start at $400, $500, $400 and $500.
Okay.
and that is without a display. So for $300 more with a display, I think there's a
I still okay.
there's a
I
product
still
there.
look. I go anywhere I
These
go.
have
Just
been,
hang on. Hang on. Let me do. You're doing point. I'm doing counterpoint.
I know.
Okay, so you can't just make it all about the glasses. Okay, fine. I've got everyone carries their phone around. If you don't believe me, go to a mall. Everyone's got a phone in their pocket. You're telling me that you so, and if you're wearing AirPods, which a lot of people do, that's pretty much the same thing. You know, and now you're telling me I have to wear glasses in order to get that capability without display, for example. So it's like,
It's
why
not the
would
same
I?
thing. It's wildly not the same thing.
Well,
So
I can point my
augmented
camera.
reality.
I can point
is-
my camera at it and say, I'm done, put it back in my pocket, not look like a
Yeah.
nerd, and get on with my life.
Augmented reality and having a phone in your hand is two very different things, and you won't recognize that until you try it.
I've tried them. I've worn them. I have a photo. One of my profile photos is me wearing one of these things. I know what I'm talking about.
But the ones that are on screen don't have a display. They are $500, and from what I understand, they've been very successful so far.
All right.
So they are selling these, making a profit, and they've gone to the point of getting on board with Oakley. Oakley's the second one. They had whatever the other big sunglass manufacturer is. I can't remember the name of them right now. They are teamed up with them already, and then Oakley came on as well. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a trend starting where these things are selling and being successful. So hopefully the ones with the displays will be as well. We'll see.
We
shall
will
see.
see. We will see. We will see. So far, I've been right. We've been doing this.
Ray-Ban.
We've been doing this for
Ray-Ban is the
years,
other
Ed.
one.
So far, I've been right.
Ray-Ban and Oakley are the two sunglasses.
Great.
And I'm
Good for
sure
them.
I'm sure John's dad was like, these computers will never take off.
Don't do that. No, don't. I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm not. I definitely see the benefit, but I also have a phone in my pocket that has great cameras, and I don't have to wear sunglasses. I don't have to put something on my face to do it. And the phone, I can get the phone for $500.
I can see
The
whoever
iPhone SE, the iPhone SE gives me 10,000 times the ability that these stupid glasses can do. Sorry.
whoever was the peer in your life, whether it's your dad, grandpa, whoever,
Yeah. Who
and
hurt
like
you? Is that
or
where you're
mom,
going?
could have been mom.
Who hurt you?
Yeah, I could see them being like, listen, little Johnny, someday these computers are just gonna go away because
Yeah.
you gotta they're so expensive. They're like $3,000. They take up half your living room. You gotta have a printer that's
My
whizzing
God, it's not
out
the same thing.
stuff. You gotta have the punch card you're
Not
feeding
the
in.
same thing. It's
Nobody
not
will
the
ever
same
want
thing.
one of these
Not the
newfangled
same thing.
computer
It's not the same thing.
robots.
How dare
robots.
you? How dare you treat me this way?
Nobody will fill their house with robots, John. I
Look,
don't know
we're
why
not
old
talking
time you had to.
Jetsons here, okay?
They weren't
Come on.
robots. They're robots.
Uh-huh.
You gotta put the old timey spin on it.
All right. I
It's
think we've beaten this
ro-
horse
the robots.
enough. All right, just let it go.
in the future.
Ed, you've lost. Just take a knee and run out the clock. All right.
Nobody will have a telephone in there.
Oh my God, he's still talking.
Nobody wants a telephone they can take with them everywhere they go, John. I mean, you have one in your house. What do you if I'm at the store and I'm in my car, I don't need someone calling me on a telephone, John. It's
Sure.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Silliness. Who would want such a device?
You're right.
And then you got the cord hanging out.
Mhm.
You got to remember everybody's number. How are you going to do that when everybody has a phone in their car at the grocery
done?
store?
Are you done? You're done, right?
I think
Just
so.
checking. Okay.
I can come up with more. We can do this.
Oh,
all
I
day,
know.
Really.
I know. Yeah.
We
None of
can.
it is convincing, though. I think you're just talking to yourself at this point.
Now the audience loves it.
Uh huh. You're that
I'm in a
guy who
back
points
channel,
himself
you don't
You're that
see.
guy who
Everybody's-
points at himself in the mirror who's like, you can do it. You can do it. Personal affirmation. Wear the glasses. Wear the stupid Oakleys. Make yourself look like a nerd. Get kicked out of private spaces because they don't want you recording everything. Do it. You
In
be
the
that guy.
home of the future, everything will be made of plastic.
Well, it is.
I love those videos. I absolutely love those videos. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the
Newsreel films.
Monsanto House of the Future. There's what are the other ones? Was it Dow Chemicals or whatever?
Yeah,
they had these
the old newsreels. The old newsreels.
Yeah, well, they set up these lavish prototypes of what they thought the future is going to be like to kind of like push product. So like, yeah, we discovered like how to make, you know, useful industrial plastics. So now we're going to like push them on mainstream America and like make literally everything you've ever seen out of plastic. And like there's like this demo house where the plates are made of plastic, the walls are covered in plastic, the carpet's some plastic-based fiber. You know, little Johnny's got plastic helmet and glasses and shoes. The food's darn near made of plastic. Like, I love those old videos. They throw complete caution to the wind as to like what this plastic is going to do to your guts and your health.
Sure, it's the old
And
newsreel films where it's like, oh, say hello to the power of the future, uranium, safe and effective, and you know what? Yeah, I know.
But everybody's going to have AR glasses in the future, John.
Okay,
Everybody.
okay.
Everybody, even with last names of Bristow, will have it.
Yes. Yeah, for coming from a guy who's worn glasses since he was 15, so for the last 35 years, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's unfortunate.
Okay.
Really.
This is what you're proposing, is it? No. It's just a natural look. I'm just gonna go around like this. Everyone's gonna do this. Everyone's gonna do this.
We will be back with another show next week if you want to continue the conversation. We're gonna be starting a new Discord channel soon, so you can stop by. We'll throw an invite out, and you guys can continue this conversation. Where if you're excited about the new AI powered tools for Blazor, you can come chat with us. We'll have progress engineers, community members, fans of the show, grumpy old men from Australia that may or may not like AR. Our friends at TuxCare, Chris DeMars. So we'll have a Discord channel. It is almost ready. We could drop an invite today, but we haven't quite fleshed out all of the different channels and things. So we'll have that ready probably next show. We'll throw that out there and everybody can join in and come talk about their favorite AR devices that are definitely the future and will be the next big thing since mobile. Right, John?
Sure. Why not?
Until then, same bat time, same bat channel. Come back next week, and John and I should be here. Take care, everybody. Any last words, John?
No. We're good. We're good.
Octopus deploy URLs or anything you want to share?
Just go to octopus.com. You'll see everything there.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. See you soon.